Welcome back to Big Up, where we are going to discuss my top 10 drum and bass records on vinyl for the year of 2019. We've got some boozy eggnog here to help us get us through this. So let's get started. First up, we have from Rapture Records, the Earth release by Jay Robinson, The Untouchable, and Dubmonger. I found all three of these tracks to be crazy interesting, experimental drum and bass, kind of on the jungle tip. I find these three tunes, all three, to be just smashers. Great stuff. Definitely worth picking up if you can find it. So make sure to check it out. Next, we have the Chimp Oh and Sam really 10-inch. Let's see here. I can never remember the name of these two tunes. Both these tunes are amazing. If you're wondering why that record looks like that, it's in an individual sleeve. I try to keep them out to keep the paper sleeves looking good. Both these tunes showcase the great production skills of Chimp Oh and Sam. They're funny, and they're forward thinking with respect to the past. As in, like, they've got some jungle sounds, but it don't sound dated. It doesn't sound like it sounds like Chimp Oh and Sam. It doesn't sound like anyone else. I really hope they keep releasing stuff. I haven't seen anything yet, but I would love to get more 10 inches from this label. Next, we have On Apollo, a record we reviewed earlier. We reviewed those other two also, but it's the Ohm Unit and Kid Drama Untitled Works on what was the label? Apollo. This is like the best callback record of the year for the autonomic sound that was so great in the early aughts, late aughts, early 2010s. I absolutely love the autonomic sound, and I hope it just keeps on getting moved and recreated and done again and again. Ohm Unit and Kid Drama kill it on this one. I can't recommend this record enough. And now we have on Astrophonica, one of my call-out labels of the year. They were consistently releasing amazing records. I picked up everything they released. It was that good. This one is the Big Up the Ladies EP, which in my mind is a nearly perfect EP. As you will see, my next release is also a Fracture one, which I think is the EP of the year. But all four of these tunes smash it. They've got 80s influences, they got jungles influence, house and techno influences, and Fracture, while is deeply seated still within drum and bass, is taking all these influences from outside places and just killing it. This is an amazing EP. You should own this. And last but not least, we have Fracture on 1984, which is Alex Perez's label, which also was killing it this year. I think I missed one of the releases this year, and that's it. This EP is what I love in drum bass. It's experimental. He's got experimental tunes. He's got just straight drum bass tunes, and he's got these old school jungle footwork callouts that are just amazing. The artwork on this is great. All around, Alex Perez just does that so well. The A side of this tune is my favorite tune of the year, probably. It's so great. It's Give Me Love featuring Fox. It's atmospheric jungle. And that first time I heard that loon sample come in, I just, I swooned. So those are my first, the 5 singles of the year for me. So we could have called this my top 5 singles and my top 5 albums because it really split up that way for me. The top 5 albums this year, I think, outdid any of the singles just because they were so strong. So we got to get into it. I've got it in plastic, but we have the S.P.Y's dub plate style EP. Got the signature in there. This thing is amazing. 10 inches, only ever going to be pressed once. The packaging on this alone makes it a top contender. This album was brilliant. All on 10 inches, like a dub plate. Great artwork. S.P.Y kills it as always. Just amazing. I would recommend going out and get this, but it's already gotten pretty pricey. It's already one of my top, most expensive record releases. So my recommendation is if you see S.P.Y or you see Hospital says that they're not going to repress something, you got to go out and run out and grab that stuff, because it's going to be worth your investment. And the music also, coming from Hospital is going to be, it's going to have proper quality control almost always. After S.P.Y, we've got the Turbo EP on the Turbo album on Astrophonica. Now, this album I haven't reviewed yet on the channel, but it is in my list of things to do. I haven't quite got to it yet. I've written the reviews, but I haven't got it. So this EP features many amazing of the kind of the who's who of the left field of drum and bass. We got Fracture, More Sound, Sam Binga, Addison Groove, Philip D. Kick, and Sam Binga and Fracture together, making techno music that is at a drum and bass speed. It's amazing. It's interesting. It's different. You should be listening to this. It's been on many of, I think it was on Mix Mag's best compilations of the year. I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a huge drum and bass fan, you should check this out. It's dripping with experimental class. I can't say it any other way. Love it. Next up, we do have one that we've reviewed before. The Jet Set Meets Hospital album, which was 16 7-inches. This album was so diverse. It was Hospital got the ability to remix 16 songs from Jetstar, and there isn't a bad tune on here. There's ones I like more than others, obviously, but this thing was through and through like a classic. It's great. It's got amazing artists. It's got personal favorites like Quadrant, Kid Hops, and Iris. It's got like jungle masters like Saxon. It's got the classic, Hospital crews with New Tone and New Logic. I loved this album, and I am so glad to have it in my collection. If you can find a copy, I cannot recommend it enough. Now we're down to the last two. So this would be my number 2 and my number 3 release of the year. I mean, number 1. I don't know why I said number 3. Another one I haven't gotten to reviewing. I just got this in my hands maybe 2 weeks ago. Is the Function 50 Shadows EP. This is an amazing EP because it isn't trying to fit in a box. It isn't trying to be experimental. It's just Digital asking his friends to make some dark jungle DNB rinse out tunes. Every single one of these is great. I love it. It's got Deadline Need for Mirrors remix. It's crazy. The cut Stranger Things is sampling the old some old samples that you've heard before and just kills it. Killjoy, Ghosts of Old. It might be my favorite song. It would be a good argument to make that might be my song of the year over those Fracture tunes. It's got Trace, it's got Clued, it's got drum sound and bassline Smith doing some dark and deep, just amen workouts. I can't say enough nice things about this. I would tell you to go out and run and buy this as soon as possible, but there's only 200 made. I am so excited to get this, have this in my collection. It's sold out on pre-sale. It's an amazing album. If you ever get to see this out in the wild, you got to snatch it up. It's probably going to end up being pricey, but it's an amazing album. Well worth owning. And last but not least, something that if you watch my review of it, you could probably tell this was going to be my number one album of the year. King of the Rollers on Hospital Records, self-titled album. I think this is the closest thing to a nearly perfect drum and bass album. It's an album, a drum and bass album that I can listen to over and over again and not get bored. When you listen to, drum and bass can be really reciprocal. Like you're just going through tunes and because there's so much stuff being released and it's so good and you want to hear it all. But this one I keep going back to. Every tune on here is just great. It sounds new and interesting, but it also sounds like a classic to me. We've got everything from stuff that features Inja. We've got, Bassman doing some of the only tunes I've ever heard that I like Bassman on. The guitar track is this amazing, like, guitar sampled tune, Mammoth, that literally makes it feel like mammoths are going to stomp through the rave. It's great. I cannot say enough things about this album. Basically invented the foghorn bass sound, if you ask me, that everyone's doing at the moment. It's great. You should have this in your collection for sure. Anyways, that's my top 10 lists for vinyl releases this year. Obviously there's lots of stuff I wasn't able to purchase, probably amazing albums, but I want to know, what did I miss? What did you dig this year? What did you buy on vinyl? What do you think is going to be future classics? Make sure to like and comment because I definitely want to have a good discussion about this. Thanks. Bye.